I give him my phone and I go, hey, prank fault. And he went, who you got? And he was just like, I want to call Shakira. I was like, I haven't got Shakira in my phone. And it became apparent, clearly the only reason he'd done the show is because he thought that I somehow knew Shakira.
Yeah. One thing I really want to speak to you about, Russell, one of my favourite things that you do is the Russell Howard Hour.
Thanks, man.
The interviews on there, absolutely fascinating. You've had some wonderful guests. If anyone out there hasn't seen it, I strongly recommend it. I watch the YouTube clips all the time. So some of the guests you've had on, Juan Mata, Ed Sheeran, Louis Theroux, Darren Brown, Tyson Fury, Stephen Merchant, who we're big fans of, Matthew McConaughey, Kerry Godliman, so many good names. If I had to press you, not for your best guest, because it's a bit rude, but which guest has left the longest impact on you? Or
I kind of really enjoyed the chat with Matthew McConaughey. I found that really interesting because it was like, we didn't meet, it was like a Zoom chat and it was about his book, Green Lights. And I just loved him. I just found him so interesting and unique. And if there was a cult, I told him this, I said, I think if he was in the business of cults, I would probably join that cult. I just, I don't know, I just found him so interesting. And, you know, it's not dissimilar to what you said. It's more the things that people say when someone shares something of themselves. Because one of my favorite guests we had, in terms of leaving an impact with you, is a guy called Mark Prince, who runs the Kean Prince Foundation. His son was stabbed and killed, and he took all that pain and suffering and he turned it into. He runs an organization. He tries to help young kids turn away from knife crime, and it's unbelievable.
Wow.
And now Loftus Road, used to be called Loftus Road, is now called the Kean Prince Foundation Stadium, and it's an unbelievable story. So in terms of sort of meeting somebody, that was just like kind of jaw dropping, that somebody took all that pain and is desperately trying to ensure it doesn't happen to anyone else. It's impossible not to be blown away by something.
what a human! Because I think if something like that happened to me, I'd be full of so much bitterness and just be angry at the world rather than to.
Well, this is it. And he came on and he spoke so eloquently about it, and he's just he's an amazing human being.
You had Tyson Fury on, phenomenal athlete with probably an even better phenomenal mental health story, and what a comeback! What was it like sitting down with a heavyweight champion of the world?
Just great, because again he just spoke so honestly and authentically about everything he's been through. And this was a couple of years before he was, he was big, but he wasn't kind of like, Tyson Fury big now. And it was amazing. He was just so open and so funny and so charming and fucking huge, man. It's sort of, like, it is that moment. That's the only time where I've gone, you might have a little voice in your head. He goes, oh, there's an opportunity for a joke here. And your brain's like, let's just give it a second. You'd sort of glance down at that fist that's the size of a Rottweiler's head and go, man, let's just nod, shall we? Let's just nod. But he was lovely. He was really, really interesting.
There's a bit that made me laugh so much in that, and I can't remember the actual name, but was it? How did it go now? You wanted him to prank call someone from your phone, and I can't remember who he said, but he went, call Shakira or someone like that.
Yeah. That was
like,
He was. I thought it'd be quite fun to try and prank call somebody, and the person I thought. I was like, I'm really good mates with Greg Davies. So, and they're both the same size.
Jennifer Lopez. That's who it was, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
So I give him a phone and I go, hey, prank fault, and he went, who you got? And he was just like, I want to call Shakira. I was like, and I haven't got Shakira in my phone. And it became apparent, clearly the only reason he'd done the show is because he thought that I somehow knew Shakira.
And then he said, I'm not fucking Siri.
Yeah. But it was just this thing where I was like, but what a ludicrous. And he was really like, sort of a bit like put out. It's like this. And he was literally, some of it didn't make the edit, but he was at the point where he's just going from a phone. He's just going, who's Steve Williams? What? Martin? I'm going to ring Martin. Neil Morrissey? Is he like that? Ross Noble? Who are these people? Like, do you know what I mean? And I was sort of having to justify like these people, and I was like, he nearly called Uddis, and I was like, don't do that, because Uddis is for whatever reason I've always called him Uddis. So he's in my phone. That's my brother. I was like, don't do that, because that'll be that'll go wrong, man, because he'll think that I'm pissing around. He's going to say something horrible to you. And then there's going to be a curse on his head forever.
No, I love
it. But yeah, I'd thoroughly recommend getting him on. He's just just speaks very honestly about the roller coaster of his life.
Mm.
You know,
Who haven't you interviewed that you would love to? Can we have give us 3 names?
Klopp. I would love to interview him.
Oh, that'd be good.
It'd be a good interview,
Yeah. I've tried so hard, but you know, not so far. Billy Connolly was on my list. I managed to interview him. Who else? Bob Dylan, I guess.
Oh wow, yeah.
But I don't know how easy an interview that would be. But just for the sake of it, and Paul McCartney. Having watched the recent Beatles documentary, I would be that would probably be it. Dylan, Klopp, McCartney.
McCartney seems reachable.
Yeah, hopefully.
What a weird sentence that is to say, though.
Well,
he's
for
a
Russell
fucking
Howard.
yeah. Anyone's
I'm not saying for us.
No, but
Just give Ringo a call.
but I would gladly have Ringo as well. Have you watched that doc?
No, I haven't.
Mate, it's incredible. It's just you're just watching the Beatles and they just sat around riffing, and from nowhere McCartney just comes up with "Get Back." It just arrives.
Mad, isn't
He's
it?
like, I've got this song. Do get back, and it just appears. It's kind of sort of Chris Martin speaks about music in that way, where these sort of songs sort of just seem to just leap down into him and then just arrive, and he's almost like this vessel for it.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely
I'm
brilliant.
so envious of songwriters, aren't you?
But then I think the way in which you're envious about them, they might be envious at someone like yourself,
Apparently
a comedian.
yeah, but apparently that Robin Williams and David Bowie had that thing where they were both like, "Oh, I'd love to be you."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they were like Bowie would sort of create at home, as it were, or in a studio, and Robin Williams would create in front of the crowd.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? But it's like music created in front of a crowd. It's like it would be the equivalent of Chris Martin, kind of. It was all green, no, yellow. Let's have yellow. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but music is created for, whereas comedy is created with somehow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The audience laughter sort of allows you to go further.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of seeing music artists trying to be funnier now, though. Like people like Lewis Capaldi.
Yeah, but he's a funny fucker.
I went and saw him live, and he was kind of doing a stand-up at the same time as singing. Between each song, he was doing jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
But that must be... I remember seeing Rufus Wainwright, and he did a very similar thing to that. He was just so funny, and then he would just do a beautiful song, and you're like, geez, as far as entertainment goes, I'm not sure there's anything better than that. Someone being hilarious and then going, here's one,
That's probably why we love Bo Burnham so much as well.
Yeah. Well, Bo Burnham got one of my favourite jokes ever. You know when you see a joke that's so intimidatingly good that it doesn't make you laugh, it just makes you shudder because you're confronted with a deep intellect beyond you. This is the joke, right? It was in Edinburgh, it's about 100 people, and he kind of goes, do you guys like impressions? And the crowd go, yeah. And he goes, why? And then there's a pause, and he goes, Socrates. And you just suddenly go, oh God, his brain's too... Like, it doesn't make you laugh. You just go, fuck me. Whoa. It's sort of that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do we like, have you? Oh, and he was like 19, and you're like, oh God, fuck off.
Half the stuff Bo Burnham says I don't get, but I'm in awe of the fact I don't get it.
We've said we'd love him on the podcast, but we just think we'd be idiots.
Yeah.
It's just not worth trying to ask him anything.
It's such a weird thing, that, because it's so... I don't know whether that's a British thing, but we have this sort of innate thing within us where we go, because you're clearly brilliant, you're fantastic at this, it's really good fun, but your brain is always like, oh, they probably think we're dicks. So, do you know what I mean? It's this weird thing of like, and then you get that horrible situation. It happens to me a lot when you go to like America and you might see somebody that you sort of know and they might know you and you don't know whether you go over or they come to you, or it's this weird fucking thing and your little British head gets in you start going, well, they'll think you're a dick, so you fucking sit here. And then there's no difference between shyness and arrogance on the outside. They look the same because you're just sat in a corner, and it's like, is he shy? Is he arrogant? And that's the problem, man. It's like, we've got this weird thing where you go, I can't ask Bo Burnham. Oh, it's Bo Burnham. I better shut up. Oh, it's Russell Howard. I want to say hello, but I think he might be playing Football Manager, but he probably doesn't want to talk to me. But I'd love to have had a chat with you.
Yeah.
But your brain stood in the way of our conversation, and all our brains do. I don't know whether it's a British thing, man, but we just have this odd thing where, oh, there's someone I love. Go and say hello. And then this bigger voice in your head goes, don't do that, because you're a c***. Shut up, fuck off. Like, it's horrible.
I ended up doing about an average of 46k a day. So altogether, I ran 71 marathons in 66 days to get to London. And then I thought I'll have another 2 to get down to Worthing and have a little party. Do you know what I mean? So I did 73 marathons in 68 days in total.